jogo do Kimsa, para a gente poder ter o nosso volume de jogo. Então são outros fatores que entram a partir do momento que você chega num momento decisivo.
A busca por esse título, que Franca ainda não tem, pesa para vocês nessa hora? Como é que vocês lidam com isso?
Não, a busca pelo título ela é sempre importante, ela é motivante. Esse campeonato antigamente tinha o nome de Liga das Américas, no qual o César Franca Basquete já ganhou. Agora com esse nome nós queremos ganhar, assim como foi o NBB e outros campeonatos brasileiros. Mas o nosso foco ele se mantém jogo a jogo, da mesma forma, para que a gente possa construir o nosso grande objetivo, que é claro, chegar à final e conquistar o título.
Obrigado, Elinho. Bom jogo, boa sorte.
Welcome to our second game here in the Final Four of the BCLA Championship. Gimnasio Pedro Cal in Franca, Brazil is rocking. The home team is ready to take on an opponent from Argentina. It's Franca taking on Kimsa for a spot in the Basketball Champions League of America's final. Carlin Gay alongside Craig Feda, two teams that put up a lot of points, Craig, as we take a look at Kimsa's starting lineup. Circle Brandon Robinson, one of the leading scorers here in the BCLA.
Yeah, Brandon Robinson, second overall in scoring in BCLA play this year for Kimsa, averaging 20.6 points per game. For the veteran American, 33 years old, from Clayton State, out of Division II school, and he has really turned into a great player, a great leader for Kimsa this season as we look at Leandro Ramea, the head coach for Kimsa.
Kimsa came through potentially the toughest group in all of BCLA play, outlasting Bigua, last year's runners-up, and Minas, who we just saw a moment ago, lose to Flamengo. Minas we'll see tomorrow in the third-place game. A 5-1 record in group play, and now they're here to try and get back on top of the BCLA mountain. They won the first ever BCLA championship back in 2020. On the other side, a team that is not familiar, double negative there, with winning. A lot of winning for Franca in this basketball capital of Brazil. While soccer does rule Brazil in a lot of places, not in Franca. They live and breathe hoops. And Franca's done a lot of winning at the local level. That has not translated, unfortunately, for them at the BCLA level. As we take a look at their starting lineup, and we'll circle Lucas Diaz.
Yeah, you talk about Franca. They have won more than 40 games in a row in Brazilian league and other tournament play, including a perfect 6-0 record in BCLA play this year. And while they've gotten farther in this tournament this year than they have before, than they have in their previous two outings, they don't want anything less than gold. They're playing in their home arena in front of their home fans. And they think with the energy from the crowd, which already in this game, in this arena, which has not even started yet, the game hasn't started, it's already electric in Gimnasio Pedro Cal here in Franca.
Should be an exciting game, one that is sure to feature a lot of points. Franca will be in the home white jerseys. As Craig said, playing in front of what will be an absolutely deafening crowd. Might have to turn down the volume on your end wherever you are on the other side of this screen. Here you take a look at Kimsa, who was at the top of the Basketball Champion League of America mountain. They were able to move on and compete for a world championship at the Intercontinental Cup in 2020. They would love to get back there once again after failing to get out of the group stage the year after hoisting the championship, and then last year falling short, finishing fourth in BCLA competition.
Talk about the scoring ability of both of these teams. Kimsa averaging 90 points per game. And if you're not familiar with the international game and the FIBA game, these are 10-minute quarters. 90 points per game is pretty impressive. Anytime you can get over 80 per game, you're doing very well offensively. Franca, on the other hand, the top scoring team in BCLA play, a ridiculous 95.3 points per game. They average the fewest turnovers per game in BCLA play at 10.6 per game. Not only do they have the best offense, they've got the second best defense, giving up just 76.9 points per game. So by the numbers, Kimsa may have an uphill battle, but they've got some quality players on their side. We talked about Brandon Robinson averaging his 20.6 points per game. Another American, Eric Anderson, averaging 11 points per game. Got Juan Brasino at point guard, the veteran. We've seen him at the international level for a number of years. He had 16 points in the second quarterfinal against Real Estelí. And he's a guy who can light it up as well, shooting 42% from three-point range.
Yeah, absolute studs up and down. It is definitely going to be a scoring explosion. You mentioned both teams and then how tough it is to get to at least 80 points in 10-minute quarter situations at the pro level. In BCLA play so far, neither of these two teams have been held under 80 points. There's only one loss between them. They're hoping that that juice, their winning ways, can continue on and have a chance to play Flamengo tomorrow for all the glory.
Have you recovered from that first game between Flamengo and Minas? That one was a barn burner. My goodness, that one was fun.
Back and forth, Flamengo taking that victory 80-75. And they have a chance to keep the BCLA championship in Brazil. Kimsa, the only other team not from Brazil to claim Basketball Champions League of America glory. Cleaning up a little wet spot before we get going here in Franca. And you can hear the crowd already. They were rocking 40 minutes before tip. They're going to bring it.
They were making noise during the Flamengo-Minas game. The last 5 minutes of that game, granted, it was an exciting game, but I think they were just there for the atmosphere and the fun and to start making noise. Pre-game a little bit, if you will.
Expect nothing different from the basketball capital of Brazil. Some may even say South America. All right, here we go. Franca in the home whites. Kimsa in the road red. And another spill. Good job by our officiating crew. Vasquez, Bermudez, and Bartel from Puerto Rico, Mexico, and Uruguay.
Another veteran crew, Roberto Vasquez, Omar Bermudez, and Andres Bartel. He officiates the biggest games in the Americas.
So a little bit of delay here. We can see that there is, looks like some condensation that continues to fall right at this one spot.
I have to wonder if there's like an air conditioning duct up there that drips or if it's warm and the players are just sweating so much.
Could be a combination of the two. That is what's causing the delay to this start.
Did a tournament back in Barquisimeto in Venezuela.
Oh,
yeah, something's dripping from either the roof or an air conditioning duct or something.
It's a great shot by our camera crew here.
Yeah.
Right on top of everything. And it's not small drops either, Craig.
No, it's
coming
not.
Down.
That's something that could create a puddle in just, 30 seconds or a minute to the point where it becomes a hazard. This reminds me of the FIBA Americas 3x3 championship in Miami in December when they were playing on the outdoor plaza. It was covered, but it was raining and the rain was blowing in onto the court. So we had about a 40-minute delay, a rain delay on a covered court. It was just the funniest thing. We went into rain delay theater, and finally the rain passed. It was just one of those afternoon Florida showers, and we'll have to see how they deal with this. I mean, you don't want something as small and simple as just a little drip to delay a game. But as you said, Carlin, that was a fairly substantive drop that was falling. And it wasn't just drip a minute drip. I mean, it was drip, 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 drip. And that could be a hazard in a big hurry, especially when you have it on one of the floor graphics. Those are overlaid on the floor. Those aren't painted on the floor. And while they give you pretty good traction when they're dry, you get any moisture on those, and those things become just as slick. They don't evaporate as quickly as they do off of the wood. So we'll have to see how they deal with this. If they're getting somebody up into the roof, and if they ask one of us, I would say no. I'd if that were us, I'd send you up there.
Partner, you're on your own on that one. I'm good on my
crawling
my
up around
feet on the
ductwork.
ground.
Yeah, but this is a wonderful venue here at Ginasio Pedocao in Franca. It's a wonderful, intimate environment. And now while they work on this droplet situation, they are bringing the players back out onto the floor to continue to warm up as they work on whatever the source is of this water dropping onto the court. I've seen some weird delays in covering international basketball. We had the rain blowing onto the floor at 3x3 in December. I was in Edmonton in 2015 at the Saville Center for the FIBA Americas Women's Championship when the building lost power.
Wow.
And now we've got water drops on the floor here from an unknown source. We
FIBA
had a delay in
AmeriCup had a delay as well down in Brazil in the fall, and it was a similar situation. Hard rain falling outside somehow made it inside, and it wasn't on the floor like this is. It wasn't directly on the floor, but it was right in front of both players' benches. Two different sources of water dropping
there
right.
were two leaks.
Yeah, two leaks sprung, dropping right in front of both players' benches, and they tried to play, but the water would just accumulate. And great job by the tournament staff deciding, you know what, it's best for player safety to just send him back to the locker room. We'll try this again tomorrow, and that's exactly what they did. So the game ended at half, and we picked it back up, put a bookmark in it, and picked it back up the next day, and when the weather was a little better. So hopefully that's not the case here, but that was a sizable drop of water falling in the most annoying spot on the court, I would assume. But as you said, a great venue here in Franca, and a place where these fans, as you mentioned, came in. They came in early to catch the earlier game, first of two of our Final Four games tonight or this evening, wherever you are in the world, wherever you're watching. Flamengo defeating Minas, and that was a back-and-forth affair. Minas winning 80-75, or rather, Flamengo winning 80-75. Could have said Minas, because maybe right now, if they were still playing, the lead might have changed hands in the minute we were just talking. It was just an incredible game. Congratulations to Flamengo. They'll play for the championship tomorrow in this very arena. And I'm sure they're going to have a lot more fans show up for the championship game than they did the Final Four semifinal situation.
And you can see from this wide shot that there does not appear to be any air conditioning ductwork or anything above the court, so that's got to be coming in from outside. It's a curved roof too, so you'd think the rain runoff would just run off sideways. So I don't know. Technical problems happen even on the biggest stage. Don't forget the Super Bowl at the Superdome in New Orleans when the lights went out. So
we want to commend the officials, though, because in these situations, it's easy to kind of say, you know what, let's try to get this game off. There's a lot of people watching. There's a lot of people in the arena. It is a big game. Both these teams are excited. They're warmed up. They're ready to go. And we can play and have someone run out in between sessions and maybe wipe it down. But these are world-class athletes. We want to take care of them. And I think the players, although might be a little upset at the situation, definitely have to take a step back and look at it and say, you know what, we appreciate everybody kind of looking out for our best interest in hand. And if we have to wait a couple minutes to see these two teams go at it, we will.
Yeah, these guys are pros. They've been playing at the pro level, some of them for, 15, 20 years now. And there's nothing more important than player safety on the floor. And they will wait as long as necessary because nobody wants to blow out a knee because they hit a wet spot at center court. And you talk about, well, maybe, have somebody run out, but it's in the absolute worst spot. It's right at center court. If it were under one basket or in a corner, you could just station somebody there. They could run out, wipe it, and get off fast. You can't do that at center court. I mean, that's center court.
Right.
No matter where play is on the court, it's just a second away from somebody being right on top of you. And you just can't take that chance.
So as you can see on your screen, game delayed due to technical issues. We'll sort the technical issues out. We'll continue to give you information as we receive it, but for the time being, there's not a time limit on how long we'll be waiting, so that generally means that we are not going to be here too much longer, and we'll get to the second of our two games here this evening. While we have a chance for those who may have missed the first game, Craig, saw Flamingo punch their ticket to the finals, beating Minas 80-75. And if you're Flamingo, the team that want to get back to the mountaintop, really, here in the Americas. They won the 2021 championship. They were runners-up, actually losing to Kimsa in the finals in 2020. 3 out of the 4 years, they've been able to at least play for the Basketball Champions League of America's trophy. And here's another shot, and they looked good getting past Minas.
Yeah, you have to wonder, how this is going to impact the mentality of the players on this one. And if this game is delayed for any substantial amount of time, if we continue to get rainfall falling in and you can't get somebody up on the roof, either inside or outside, to stop this leak, does the game get pushed to tomorrow? And then you have both of these teams would be playing 2 games tomorrow.
It'd be an interesting
you're talking
situation.
About this semi, then you're talking about the third place game, and then the finals. I don't know that you could do that either.
Right. It would be a complete disadvantage for one team. So don't think we're there quite yet. I think there's plenty of time here. And as you can see, the energy has not wavered in the crowd. They're being entertained. Although there is not a basketball game being played right now. But it's great to see year 4 of this tournament. You and I called the Final 8 last year. And just to see from year to year the growth of the tournament, the amount of work our fellow FIBA colleagues in the Americas put down on not only in the arena experience, but online, digitally, the highlights that go out. I mean, the run out of the tunnel, the stage that was presented a year ago once we were able to crown Sao Paulo champions. Everything that goes into it feels like it's thought out and comes across that way. And I think if you're a player playing in this competition, if you're a fan that consumes this competition, and for us, quite frankly, being selfish, it just feels like big-time basketball, and it is just that.
You mentioned the tunnel the players run out. I had my phone out. I was taking screenshots of that tunnel because I think I'm going to remodel the hallway in my house with some LED lighting like that. Create some arches, maybe put up a couple of smoke generators, some CO2. And every time I walk down the hallway on my way out of the house or something, fire up those lights. Why not, right? You only live once.
The only thing you're missing is the in-arena MC, who is doing a terrific job keeping the crowd fired up.
Well, I'm a broadcaster. I could be my own MC. I could get one of those
right.
little Mr. Microphones, walk down the hallway. We
So-
are deep into Rain Delay Theater here, folks.
We are, but it looks like we're coming out of it at the right time. All
Yeah,
right.
we just about reached the bottom of the barrel of our
Storytelling time.
our stall tactics here.
Well, here we go.
One last wipe on the floor.
And once again, it'll be Franca in the home whites, Kimsa in the road red. And we are ready to go here, the basketball capital of Brazil. Even with the delay, you can still feel the intensity on both sides.
Yeah, they did a great job here in the arena, keeping the fans engaged. The players came out onto the floor, stayed warm. And now we're finally underway.
Off we go. Franca going from right to left on your screen. Kimsa defending on the first possession. This is Lucas Diaz. Finding his way to the paint. Skyhook falls. First two of the night.
That's a nice start for the bigger Franca team.
Jab step Anderson. Trying to work on Mariano. Diaz swiped it away as it laid on the rim, tantalizing him.
That's legal in FIBA play, folks, if you're not familiar with the FIBA international game. Once that ball hits the rim, you can wipe it off there.
Jackson's three no good. Fresh 14 now for Franca. Jorginho working the handle. Thought about the three, now moves, gets a nice dish from Jackson. He's rejected inside by Anderson.
Nice block by Eric Anderson using his length. Didn't even look like he jumped very far to block that.
It's a crafty layup there by Cosalito. His first two breaking the ice for Kimsa. Diaz on the block, facing up now. Surveying the situation, no double comes, so he'll jack the two and knock it down.
Pretty fadeaway there.
Four quick
Diaz,
points.
The captain.
Yeah.
He had a huge quarterfinal against Peñarol. 26 points, 10 rebounds, and 15 points, 13 boards.
We know we could fill it up. So can this guy. Robinson gives it up to Anderson. Short on the jumper. And Jorginho will come back the other way. Head of steam, driving to the 10, the kick out. The extra, Diaz, deep three. Too strong, tapped up and swallowed up by Brandon Robinson. Good feed underneath. The foul is going to be called. For a second there, it looked like it was going to be an easy two for Eric Anderson.
Sure did. And the style of this game so far, Carlin, is reminiscent of NBA play so far. We saw in our first game between Minas and Flamengo a very, very typical international style of play, South American style of play. In this game so far, the movement, the spacing has a definite NBA feel to it.
Anderson goes 1 of 2 from the line. Lead is 4-3 for Franca. Mariano trying to carve out some space down low, does, working on the D of Anderson. He'll fade. Can't hit. Offensive rebound Jonathan picking that one up. This is Jackson. Back inside. Mariano. He'll go to work. Robinson looking to dig down. Mariano looks him off. The jump hook doesn't fall. Ball tapped around, and Joselito will push the other way.
It was almost as if Mariano was expecting more defense, and Anderson kind of pulled the chair out from behind him. Not so much that Mariano lost his balance or anything, but I think it just kind of threw him a little bit.
Double dribble there by Joselito. Got caught between the pass and the ball fake. And the ball dropped out of his hands. Official all over that. And he knows he made the mistake. Jorginho waits for the Mariano screen. He'll step back, take the three, straight on. Can't get it to fall. Brandon Robinson with the rebound. Bullet pass ahead. The three on the way for Joselito. He missed that. And Mariano tracks it down in the corner.
And I stay with my earlier statement that this has an NBA-style play so far.
NBA-style play, but the intensity and the volume in the gym is almost NCAA college level.
Yeah.
Or European soccer or South American soccer level, to be honest with you. These fans are fired up. First foul there on Brandon Robinson you saw on the reach. Jorginho. Mariano for three. Indeed! That's what makes this Franca team so tough to beat. They have 5 players on the floor with their starting lineup that can all stretch the floor. We saw Mariano doing it right there as Jorginho going right to the basket that time.
Jorginho had a nice bucket at the other end. And they need him to get going a little bit here as it's an over and back violation.
A great defense there by Mariano, putting the pressure on Eric Anderson. Mariano's size will kind of fool you. Doesn't look like he's quick, but he is.
Yeah. Reminds me almost a little bit of Bruno Caboclo, who we saw in this tournament last year dominate.
Had that 30-point performance.
As Bruno, but
yeah, that great 30-point performance in the final.
Yep.
To take away Finals MVP in that one. Jackson turns the corner. He puts it up, but they say shot clock violation. No basket.
Yeah, I didn't hear the horn. I saw the clock go to 0, but I didn't hear a horn.
The crowd just so loud in the arena. And they were trying to alert him more so than just make noise there. Jackson just didn't pick up on the signals. Good defense there by Jonathan, who has the assignment of guarding number 15 in red. Brandon Robinson, one of the top scorers in this tournament. 3 on the way there by Joselito. Does not fall. And
almost as like Joselito wanted the foul call.
Jorginho left it for Mariano. He missed the 3. Jackson inside. Smallest player on the floor with an easy lay.
David Jackson, 6'4", 40 years old.
Wow.
Still doing it at a high level. Came from Penn State in 2007. He's been in South America for a very long time. Too many awards and accolades and championships to list, but he's a guy who's still getting it done.
Could have probably done that when we were in the delay. Missed out on that opportunity to spend the time just talking about Mr. Jackson, as Ramirez
could
his
just run down his resume for about 10 minutes.
Here is Jackson. Mariano thought about it. Takes it the second time. Way short. Diaz inside. Can't get the layup. Last touch, they say, by the home team. It's going to be a debate now. And a discussion between the officials.
Almost looks like Diaz was calling for a review. Ooh, that did go off. That went off of Franca.
It did, and the officials have decided to give the ball back to Franca. Wow. Kimsa wanting to challenge, or the players at least are begging
for
a challenge from the bench. None coming. So 14 on the shot clock for Franca to work with. Here's Jackson, back to the basket. Shot attempt way off.
Yeah, he spun with a little bit of extra velocity there and took it off the glass a little too high and a little too hard.
Rarely do you ever see the player who gets called for the foul raise his hands and acknowledge it immediately without any debate. Jonathan did that just there. After fouling Brasino. Mentioned Brasino, one of the vets on this team. A couple caps for the Argentinian national team. Foul on the inbound as Brandon Robinson made the cut. And the way he's walking, it looks like he thinks he's going to the line for free throws, and he is. Coach Elio Rubens, if you're watching anything to do with hoop in Brazil, it's a good chance to see his face. Pops up in a couple podcasts here and there. We talked about off the top, Franca, a team known for winning locally, just haven't been able to do it at this level, Craig.
Yeah, they definitely want to break through that glass ceiling and hoist a big trophy.
No better way to do it than at home. The crowd on your side. As we take a look at Brandon Robinson finally breaking the ice. Jonathan's been guarding him. Defensively, he's taken that assignment. And maybe those 2 free throws gets one of the best scores in this competition going for Kimsa. It's a 2-point game. First quarter, our second game of the night. Diaz, up fake, step back 3 on the way. Can't get it to go. Vacuumed in there by Anderson. Robinson right to the tin. Tried to kick it out. Racino now top of the key. He'll work 2-man game with Anderson. Racino steps into a 3. Indeed.
He looked confident as he stepped up for that shot. And when your top scorer only has 2 points coming up on 3 minutes to play in the first quarter, and you're only, well, now you're on top by 1, you've got to be pretty happy with where you're at.
No question about it. Jackson was hammered that time by Brasino. And again, the acknowledgement of the foul right away. A lot of sportsmanship being shown here in this one as Brasino with the hit check on Jackson.
I don't think there was much doubt that he committed that foul.
Jackson trying to fight for position on Brandon Robinson. Jackson pulls the trigger, can't hit. Last touch, they say, by Kimsa, it's going to stay right here. Good hustle there by Lucas Diaz. No, he could put it in the basket, but doing the little things here, Craig. And again, I don't know.
Yeah, I thought that went off of Diaz. But what do I know? The officials are much closer than we are, have a much better angle on it.
That's why they don't give us a whistle. We'd probably blow it too much. Mariano's 3 not there. He followed his zone twice. And on the third attempt, got it to go.
Boy, what beautiful touch on the tip-in for Lucas Mariano. 6'10". Baby soft hands on that tip-in.
Anderson missing the bunny. Broken floor the other way for Franca. Mariano hit, but can't complete the 3-point play. This gym would have erupted had that gone down.
And that's a good foul there by Eric Anderson. Yeah, still got the shot up mostly, but he didn't allow the electrifying dunk that would have really ignited this crowd. You could see him slam the ball in frustration. But that was a good foul to take right there.
The 2-headed monster for Franca is definitely Lucas Diaz and Lucas Mariano. 6'9", 29 years of age, about 15.5 points per game for this Franca squad. 83% from the line. When he's on the floor, he's about a plus 17 in his time on the floor, doing it at both ends. And you take a look at him, you don't think he's as quick as he is, but he'll end up in areas where you're shocked that a big man can move as fast as he does, and then he has a soft touch as well. Just such a dominant player here in the Americas.
Two-headed monster. That's what they call us when we turn the mics on. They say the two-headed monster ready to go. I grunt, you snort, and here we are.
It's a wonder how we got this position. We'll keep it as long as we can. Robinson step back, rattles it home. That was nasty.
A little Jamal Wilkes. If we go way back into the time machine.
A little prettier shot,
up and behind the head, yeah.
I don't think anyone can really replicate the Wilkes shot, and I don't think you want to either. As Jorginho misses. Another opportunity for Franca, and they cash this one from deep. It's Smith, his first three, his first minutes off the bench. Robinson bumping down low. Finally got the whistle he'd been asking for.
It's going to be on Santiago Scala. A couple of veterans going at it. Scala, 31 years old. Robinson, 33. Scala thought that Robinson was doing just as much to draw a whistle as he was. And it still kind of feels like we've got two heavyweights that are still kind of feeling each other out. They're starting to throw some haymakers. They're starting to land some punches, but it seems like they're still a little bit wary, as now Sebastian Acevedo says, "Here's my haymaker."
His first minutes off the bench. He just checked into the game and gets on the score sheet. It's a 1-point game once again. There's Diaz. Looking for space. Now has it. He'll pull. That's way off.
Gorgeous defense there by Acevedo.
It was indeed. Robinson showing his bag of tricks. Cosalito for three. Thought he got hammered. Ball ricocheting off a couple defenders, and here is Jorginho with the feed to Smith.
Nice cut from the baseline to Michael Smith. He read that beautifully.
Smith now with 5 points in a blink of an eye. 5-second differential between shot and game. Cosalito from the corner, way off. That ball, I say last touched by Franca, will stay right here. 4 ticks on the shot clock for Kimsa to work with.
Michael Smith's one of those guys who didn't really have a distinguished collegiate career of note, but he's found himself making a nice career for himself at the professional level overseas. Played in Germany, Mexico, Argentina, now Brazil. One of those guys who can get you some real good minutes, get some good production off the bench. He's not going to be necessarily your go-to scoring threat, but if you need him to get you some buckets and some boards, he'll do that. Averaged 7.3 points per game in BCLA play this year.
2 to shoot. And a bailout foul as the clock was ticking down, and Franco Morale will go to the line for potentially 3 shot attempts. It's going to be 3, as you saw there. Santos with the egregious foul.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Marcio Santos was thinking there.
It's a second foul at that, picking up 2 quick ones. And Morale will toe the line.
I mean, you knew Morale was going to have to rush the shot. He was going to be shooting it from an awkward position anyway. I mean, as long as you're in the neighborhood, you're going to give him a little bit more degree of difficulty, but committing the foul on a shot that was going to be a very low percentage shot to begin with, now you're going to give him 3 easy ones.
Potentially a chance to tie here and go back to the benches at an even playing field as he knocks down all three calmly. Just under 5 seconds to play here in the first quarter. And a foul there. Kimsa had a foul to give. Crowd wanting the unsportsmanlike, as Jorginho checking to see if the chiclets are still in his mouth. You decide at home. Oof.
Yeah, that could have been an unsportsmanlike with that elbow up high like that.
Yeah, Sanchez.
I mean, the other hand played the ball. But getting that arm up high like that.
Sanchez certainly getting away with one there. That was his second foul. Jorginho's shot at the buzzer does not fall, and will end the quarter the way we started it. Tied. 2020. Two high-scoring teams doing battle here. The Final Four of the BCLA Championship here in Franca, Brazil. Your score, Franca 20, Kimsa 20. Here are the stats from the first 10 minutes of play. Three-point shooting, dismal for both sides. You expect that to change as the game goes along. Take a look at the top scores. Mariano with 7, Messino with 5, leading the way for their respective teams. We'll listen into the huddle and be back with second quarter action right here on the Basketball Champion League of Americas 2023. Back we are, second quarter action here in Franca, Brazil. Gimnasio Pedro Cal, the hosts of the BCLA Final Four. One spot already claimed in the finals. Flamengo will play for the championship tomorrow. The winner in this one will be the opponent. Game tied at 20 after the first 10 minutes of play. Franca wearing the home whites, Kimsa wearing the road red. Carlin Gay alongside Craig Fado with you. Thanks for joining us wherever you are, however you're doing so. You see the intensity on both ends of the floor defensively. We were expecting a high-scoring game, but it's been a defense that has impressed me, Craig.
Yeah, these teams averaged 90 and 95 points, each team only with 20 in the first quarter, but an interesting sequence here because it looked like it could have been a shot clock violation, but Diaz did get possession of the ball and then step on the sideline, so they gave it back to Kimsa. I believe that was the correct call, and now Kimsa turns it over.
Bucket and the foul inside for Lucas Diaz. Captain of this team, one of the leading scorers here of this competition, will toe the line and look for point number 9 after the gorgeous finish inside. Perez picked up his first foul. Barale, watched by Jorginho. Diaz poked at the ball, 10 to shoot. Barale feels like he has a mismatch on Diaz. Attacks him, lost the ball out of bounds.
Well, he thought he had the mismatch, but Diaz moved the feet, got to the baseline, got help when he got there, and forced the turnover.
Open for three is Santos off the back iron.
Fantastic job by Sebastian Acevedo on the box out. He didn't get the rebound.
Certainly played it well, didn't he? This is Barale. They go inside. Here's Acevedo. Nice pass on the baseline as Hernandez tried to scoop it up and in. He got fouled. They'll go to the line for two, and Diaz, with the good sportsmanship, knows he caught him in a soft spot. There it is. Poke to the eye. What you didn't see, though, was the acute angle that Acevedo had to, or rather, Acevedo had to throw that. Caicedo, sorry, had to throw that bounce pass on.
So Diaz picking up his second foul.
Definitely something to note. You don't want to pick up that third here in that first half. It's not like it is in pro basketball in the United States of America with the NBA. It's not 6 fouls here.
Yeah, we're still early on in the second quarter.
So I would consider Diaz to be in foul trouble, all things considered. Hernandez knocks down both free throws, ties the game.
I would not disagree. Jonathan Dos Santos also with 2 fouls. He's on the bench for Franca right now, and those are two of their bigger players.
And he started off the game guarding Brandon Robinson as a primary defender. What a block there by Hernandez.
Goodness.
Barale, Hernandez almost walked. Crowd doing the Tootsie Roll with their hands.
Yeah, that's the home fans wanting a travel. He did not travel. He didn't drag that foot.
Barale, deep three. Can't get it to go when Diaz tracked it down. I did think he kept his pivot foot on the ground. A good job of stopping momentum there to do that. Fans, they would have been blowing a whistle if they had one as Diaz tees up a three. Can't get it to go. Santos inside. Hard work does not pay off for him.
Tough angle from under the bucket, trying the reverse with a little English off the glass.
Boy, Hernandez becoming public enemy number 1 here in Franca as he draws another foul and he'll go back to the line.
There wasn't a lot of contact there, but I mean, maybe enough to take the player off his line to the bucket while he was in the air.
Well, it's Michael Smith who picks up the foul there. As we take a look at Kevin Hernandez, averaging just over 5 points per game, couple boards. He's not in there for his numbers. He's in there to give minutes. And in a game like this, when you have 2 able bigs in Diaz and Mariano, you need all the big bodies you can get. And right now, Hernandez is giving Kimsa some solid minutes and production off the pine. 4 points and counting for him. Diaz will sit. Mariano, 28 in white, sets the screen now, replaced him.
Matches the biggest lead of the game for either team at 4. And Kimsa wants to run here. There's a defender down on the floor.
And guess who it is?
5-on-4.
Hernandez with the feed. Can't get the assist as...
And we saw that in the first semifinal when you had a 5-on-4. You settled for an open 3, and now you give up a 3 at the other end.
Paid the price as Scala drills the triple. That's his first 3 of the game. And gives Kimsa, or rather Franca, the lead once again. Is that an offensive foul?
Oh, unless he was in the restricted area.
It is an offensive foul as Jackson picks it up on the baseline, standing in and taking the charge. You decide at home.
Oh, yeah, he was well outside. Great call by the officials. You saw him lower the shoulder. That was a clear charge.
Acevedo picking up the First foul of the night for him. 6:30 to play here in the first half. It is Mariano looking to go to work. Bumping. Chiseling his way to the rim. And the foul.
Man, that was some Shaquille O'Neal offense right there. You just back your defender, bump back. Get close and you just lay it in and draw the foul.
Great patience shown by Mariano, you see here.
I mean, Kevin, that wasn't Kevin Hernandez on the defense. It was
Acevedo.
Yeah, it was Acevedo. He was doing everything he could to try to keep Mariano from backing him down. And Mariano was just, he was not going to be denied.
Acevedo might have a little beef with his teammates because they kind of watched him.
Yeah, where's my help?
Bodied, and I'm sure he was screaming help in whatever language he could, and it was not showing up. A foul there away from the basketball. You see Brandon Robinson checking back into the game, replacing Rodrigo Sanchez.
Probably started in Portuguese because most of the players on Franca are from Brazil, and probably switched to Spanish. You've got some Argentines out there, and then maybe English. You've got some Americans as well.
Speaking of English off the backboard, that was a little bit of English on that layup attempt by Hernandez. He's having himself a fantastic evening so far, already above his average here in the BCLA. 6 points and counting.
At 4.5 points per game, he's got half a dozen now.
And the great defense on one end to lead the break on the other. Layup attempt inside by Perez, no good. Here's Jackson. He'll turn the corner, tee up a two, and got it. He's been knocking down that jump shot for a long time, hasn't he?
Yeah, at 4 points now. He's averaging 15.1 points per game in BCLA play. 40 years old, averaging 15.1 points per game.
I'm more interested in the minutes played. He's about 30 a game at 40 years of age. Talk about being in shape. Here's Brandon Robinson, wide open three. Don't want to give him too many attempts like that. He missed that time, and Mariano throwing the bows aggressively to gain possession. Float game there by Smith. Can't get it to fall. Robinson is not fouled in the backcourt.
Yeah, boy, that sure looked like he was trying to foul.
Perez rejected by Mariano. Jackson for three.
Oh, the crowd would have exploded had he hit that one, and now a foul on the rebound. That's going to be on Hernandez.
There's a take a look at the crowd that you just mentioned. They've been fired up here for this one. Tough to keep that big man off the glass. As Hernandez picks up the foul. And Kimsa one foul away from penalty situation. Jackson will trigger this inbound. Three on the way, no good. Look at Jackson fight for an offensive rebound opportunity, but it lands in the hands of Hernandez. Robinson watched by Jorginho. Hernandez sets the screen now for Barale. This is Hernandez going to work on Jackson. Rejected inside, but the foul is called. And Santos not impressed with the officials in this moment. A lot happening here on this replay.
Yeah, he got a lot of arm on that.
Can't say enough about the minutes that Kevin Hernandez has given Kimsa here in this semifinal game. For a guy to come off the bench, only playing 13 minutes per game and averaging 5 points and just under 3 boards, he has made an impact here in this quarter. Hernandez looking for points 8 and 9 at the foul line here.
Neither team shooting the ball particularly well so far. Franca, 43% from 2-point range, 19% from 3-point range. While Kімsa, 45.5% from 2, 22% from 3.
We made a lot about the offense coming into this game. It's been the defense that has stood out. As Jorginho on the rock.
Oh, that was a great job by Hernandez defending the roll.
Really was. It left Mariano open for 3. Can't get it to go, but Ale is fouled in the backcourt.
And that was a veteran move by Mariano. Hernandez stayed with him on the roll, realized it wasn't there, and then backed out and got himself an open look from long range.
My apologies. We thought the foul was actually on the home team, Franca. The foul is on Kімsa. And that will send Franca to the line. It's on Ramirez. Ramirez picked up the foul, and Santos will go to the line for free throws. It's his team now in the bonus. First free throw missed there.
Boy, if you were going to print out a script for these two semifinal games, you would have expected the first semifinal to be more like this. With these two high-scoring teams, the first semi didn't end up to be that terribly high-scoring, 80-75. It slowed down considerably in the second half, but there were times in that game when it was an absolute track meet. This one seems to have been a banger the whole way.
Yeah, the flow of the game in the first game that we had felt like it was going to get to 100. Even though it didn't end up this way, this one feels like it will struggle to get to 80. Feels like two heavyweights just banging each other inside rather than the free-flowing basketball offense ruling like we thought we would have coming into it. But that could change in a minute with these two teams. They can put the ball in the basket, no question about it. 3 on the way, no good. Last touch by Kімsa. As we see Eric Anderson back into the game for Kімsa.
Yeah, he thought it went off Franca, and I did too, but he didn't protest too much.
Here's Jackson with 10 to shoot. Good feed. Santos blew the dunk. Was trying to tear the rim down and instead threw the ball into the Gucci suits.
Legendary collegiate coach in the U.S., Denny Bridges, wrote a book, and it was called A Dunk Only Counts 2 Points.
Well, there was no points to be had on that attempt.
Yeah.
Robinson tees up a 2. That's his spot. That's his shot, and he knocks it down. Brandon Robinson's been at it for a long time. I mentioned a Division II basketball player, but that hasn't stopped him from getting everything out of his body, maximizing his potential. Played all over the world. Now finds himself playing for Kімsa in Argentina. Find himself in Canada playing early in his career. About 10 years ago is where we crossed paths. Playing in the NBL Canada up there. He was part of the inaugural season.
Yeah, rookie of the
still
year,
going.
All-Star Game MVP.
Yeah. He's still going.
He was a 2020 BCLA champion with Kімsa. He won the MVP that year.
Went on to represent and compete for a world championship at the Intercontinental Cup. The last stop and play leads to a timeout here on the floor. 31-30 your score. Franca in front by 1 with 2:08 to play in the first half.
puxar da orelha pro meio Jackson. O que eu quero? Só que eu não vou ter que você bloquear. O que eu faço primeiro bloqueio e vai embora. Marília, pega o dente do lado que você escolher. Aí deixa o cara longe, vem, encaixa o bloqueio pra ele atacar o meio. E aí, vamos. Feito de sai. Você vai jogar, gente. Nós vamos jogar, se trocar, você rola, então se mantém aberto. E o dente vai atacar no controle.
Well, it hasn't been as pretty as we thought it would be, but there are some highlights to be had as we take a look at Lucas Diaz and the N1 finish. The emotion that goes into a semifinal game. Jackson doing his part with that mid-range jump shot. And Lucas Mariano beasts on the boards. What we know is at stake for both these teams. A chance to play Flamengo in the final. That will be tomorrow. Approaching the 2-minute mark here in the first half. Home team Franca up 1.
Saw the graphic a moment ago that Franca out-rebounding Kimsa 24-18. That's to be expected. But really, Kimsa doing a great job in some other areas. They're leading in points from the bench.
Another offensive rebound opportunity. And leads to a shooting foul as Levy was trying to tap it back in. He got fouled, and they'll go to the line for 2. Coach Ramella, hands in the air to the palms to the sky, asking where is the whistle on the other end for his guys. The foul's on Anderson right now.
Yeah, having a discussion at the table.
And if that foul is on Eric Anderson, could put him in some foul trouble here. He had to sit for an extended period of time as they're in the middle of that first quarter when he picked up foul number 2. So the officials
He's got
discussing.
2. Sebastian Acevedo has 2. Franco Morale has 2 for Kimsa. Diaz has 2. Dos Santos has 2. And Michael Smith each have 2 for Franca. Nice job by Lucas Diaz to play the last several minutes cleanly. Remember, he had those 2 fouls with 8.5 minutes to play in the second quarter. As we see
So discussion had between Coach Rubens and our official Bartel. And the reason for the discussion, possession was changed. We went from having a foul and free throw attempts for Franca to wipe it off the board, and Kimsa with possession. There was a timeout and a challenge, and that reversed the call. So here we go. Minute 43. Can Kimsa take advantage of this situation here and go into the locker room potentially with some momentum to head to the second half?
We got that all squared away.
Offensive foul is going to be called.
Oh, my goodness.
On Cosalito as he threw Jackson out of the club, basically.
Yeah, he did. Wow. Looks like it was a curling competition. Expected to see one of those floor moppers come out and wipe the floor in front of him as he was sliding like you see in curling.
He slid a fair bit. It's a wasted opportunity after that offensive foul was called. Neither team has a foul to give here down the stretch of the first half. Jorginho attacking. Diaz back into the game. It's Jackson for three. Can't get it to go. Jorginho with the offensive rebound. Jorginho now probing. Floater in and out. Can Kimsa get a rebound here, folks? Ball last touch by Kimsa is going to stay here. As Jackson took another spill. Been a physical game for David Jackson. Talked about.
Been a physical game for a lot of guys out there.
That's very true. Well, we talked about David Jackson playing in his 40s. He's going to feel this one. Don't care how great a shape he's in. He's taking some hits this evening, and he's earning a trip to the line after the last one.
I got tired of watching 30 minutes of basketball at age 40. Can't imagine playing.
Jackson drills the first. Playing nearly 30 minutes a game here in the Basketball Champions League of Americas. Just great shape. Taking care of his body, extending his career. Sometimes you see a lot of 40-year-olds or players around that age that get to this level, and maybe they're coming off the bench. Maybe they're just playing some spot minutes. It is rare that you see a guy play 30 minutes a game at that age and do it at a high level. As we take a timeout here, Kimsa calling the timeout. We'll listen to their huddle. Here you see the bench scoring for both teams. Kimsa with 14. Franco with 9. Some of the highlights from the first half thus far.
You heard Leandro Ramea talking in that huddle about switching on the man-to-man on the screen, so we'll have to see if that comes to fruition for Kimsa on the floor.
Corner three, Ramirez no good. Jackson vacuums it in under a minute to play here in the second period. Jorginho inside, Mariano right at the 10.
Man, you can't give him the ball in that position. Facing the basket, moving toward the basket. He will absolutely torture you.
12 and counting for him. See if Anderson can get going here for Kimsa. Cosalito. Anderson on the roll. Can't get it to go. They want Mariano inside. They get him. Can't get it to go as Ramirez picks up the rebound. Shot clock turned off. What a steal there.
Oh, my goodness.
Mariano. 7-point lead, Kimsa. Rather, Franca. And 14 and counting for the big man in the middle.
Biggest lead of the game for Franca at 7 points. And that was all thanks to the defense by Edu Elevi. He just kept his hands up and backpedaling and reached in and picked his pocket. That was impressive. Just trying to sell the foul, too. Did the throwing the head back thing. I think that was Brasino.
It was Brasino.
I think he was hoping to get a couple of free throws out of the deal, but instead has his lunch money stolen. And instead of potentially getting it down to a 3-point deficit with a pair of free throws, now they're looking at a 7-point uphill climb. They do have 3 seconds, so they're going to try to draw something up here.
Important
like
to get
those
a good
bench
look here.
seats.
Yeah, that
is nicer than the recliner I have in my house.
It's the last bucket for Mariano, who's had himself a first half, 14 and counting.
I'm not going to congratulate Mariano too enthusiastically. He gives me that chest bump. He sends somebody flying.
Brandon Robinson tried to float her from long range, does not fall, and that's how we'll end a spirited first half. That's Franca closed the second quarter with momentum and a 7-point lead as they are 20 minutes away from potentially playing Flamengo in the BCLA Finals at home tomorrow night. Kімsa with 20 minutes to get out of that 7-point hole, get back in the game, and potentially on the top of the Basketball Champions League of America's mountain, the way they did in 2020. 37-30 your score, Franca in front as we take a look at the first half stats. And boy, close your eyes if you're not a fan of poor shooting, because you're going to see some percentages that might hurt your feelings. Hasn't been the offensive explosion we've expected.
No, it sure wasn't. 37 points for Franca, averaging 95 per game coming into this one. Just 30 for Kімsa, averaging 90 points per game coming into this one. And Franca, 30.4% from the floor, 3 of 19 from three-point range. Just unbelievably dismal shooting from Franca. Kімsa, not much better. 8 of 24 overall from the floor. 2 of 11 from three-point range. The only thing keeping Kімsa in this game right now, 12 of 13 from three-point range, or rather from the free throw line.
Been rough shooting on both sides. Bottom line right now is Franca with a 7-point lead heading into the half. As you take a look at some of the pictures from the first 20 minutes of play, we'll take a quick break. We'll be back with you for second half action. You're watching 2023 Basketball Champions League of America's Final Four from Franca, Brazil.
Yep, sounds good.
Back we are here at the Basketball Champions League of Americas in 2023. It is the Final Four here at the Gimnasio Pedro Cal in Franca, Brazil. The home team up by 7 over Kimsa. Carlin Gay alongside Craig Feda, and thanks for joining us wherever you are, however you're doing so. Craig, low-scoring game. We expected fireworks offensively, but it's been the defense on both ends that have been able to kind of put a vice grip on what is some of the 2 best offenses here in the competition.
But the defense for Franca is really forcing Kimsa into some shots they don't want. It's just been difficult going for both teams offensively, and I think it has more to do with the way these teams are playing defense. It's just been a complete flip of the script, as you might have expected coming into this one.
Off we go for second half action here at the Gimnasio Pedro Cal. It's Kimsa in the road red, as Anderson with the steal and lay-in to get things going here in the third. Franca, who were enjoying the largest lead of the game at 7 points, has that cut into. Now you have the Rock winner here, moves on to the finals to play Flamengo for the BCLA Championship. Jackson with the drive there and the fend off, using his body well.
Yep, veteran drive there by Jackson, attacking the hoop, protecting the ball. And that should be a goaltend. It is.
Juan Marcino with the lay-in there.
We talked about Mariano leading the way with 14 points for Franca. David Jackson, 6 in that first half. For Kimsa, Kevin Hernandez had 8. Juan Brusino, 7.
Boy, both teams
he had
physical
5. Yeah.
Here as Jackson, crafty to get inside and finally got fouled. Brandon Robinson wanted an offensive foul earlier in that possession. Jackson was arguing for a foul call on his way to the basket. Finally got it with 1 tick on the shot clock. Here it is.
Yeah, you see him get whacked on the head. That's what he's saying.
Deep breath here for David Jackson. His first free throw falls through the hoop. Finally, a team gets to 40. Both these teams averaging 90 points per game. Kingsa just under 90 points a game at 89.4. Franca, the leading scoring team in the competition at 95 points per game. Neither of these teams have been held under 80 in any of the games, whether it's group or knockout. We're in danger of having that happen here in the Final Four.
And since he's not at the free throw line now, I can say that David Jackson in BCLA play is now 27 of 27.
Wow. Automatic at the line as Diaz's three no good. That last shot by Brandon Robinson that cashed in for Kingsa, he looked like he was taking a heat check on that three-point attempt.
29 of 29. He's 4 for 4 in this game. He was 25 of 25 coming in.
Jackson foul. That could be an unsportsmanlike.
And that's what Jackson wanted.
So is the crowd.
And they're only going to call it a...
You decided.
I thought the same thing as soon as I saw it. Yeah, there were defenders behind the ball, but he didn't make a play for the ball. I've seen that called an unsportsmanlike. I would not have been shocked had that been called an unsportsmanlike.
Offensive foul. Brosino draws it on Diaz. And Diaz wants a review.
And that's going to be foul number 3 on Diaz.
Has to be careful. We talked about that in the first half. Only 5 fouls at this level. Diaz such an important piece to this Franca squad. Robinson dishing. Brosino's 3 rattles home.
It was like that bucket had a magnet in the bottom of it. I thought that was going to ring out. And all of a sudden it got sucked down.
Just like that, it's a 1-point game. Jorginho for 3. Responds. Jorginho's been quiet offensively. He's had his hands full on the defensive end. Cosalito. Bounce pass inside and an easy finish for Ramirez. Feels now like the game is starting to get some type of rhythm.
Quiet night for Ramirez so far, just his 4th point.
Diaz 3 no good. Gets his own. Had it stripped
on the way up.
Mariano, another offensive rebound. And Franca dominating on the glass. That's Jorginho putting it up and in. He has the last 2 baskets now for the home team.
And I think Leandro Ramea, he about burst a blood vessel coming out onto the court after his team didn't grab one of those rebounds. Oh, my.
Eric Anderson with the finish. Give him 5. Jorginho is red hot. 3 straight buckets for him. 2 of them from deep. Give him double digits. Now with the assignment guarding Brosino. Ramirez. Cosalito. They wait for Anderson. He bumps inside. Double teamed. He traveled. Outside of that dunk that we just saw a couple possessions ago, it's been a tough night for Eric Anderson on both ends of the floor.
These two teams scored Franca 17 points in the second quarter. Oh, my goodness.
That's Mariano for 3, fed by Jorginho. Basket's starting to open up.
Franca had 17 in the second quarter. Kimsa with 10. And already, Franca has 15 and Kimsa 14.
Starting to turn into the game we expected. An offensive foul is going to be called on Mariano. He came across the lane and caught Cosalito. Unfortunately for Cosalito, he's still down. Mariano going in to check on him. Here it is on the replay. Bang, right there.
Oh, yeah.
He saw the next snap, and that's always dangerous.
Cosalito, the captain. just now getting up off the floor, and the old bells of St. Mary are ringing.
Good to see him get up under his own power and get to the bench. Never want to mess around with neck injuries. He felt that one for sure. Keep an eye on him and give you an update if we have one throughout the second half. Rosino. Sanchez. Two-man game. Anderson and Brusino. The lob inside, and Anderson is just having a tough night. Wasn't able to detach himself from the defender and catch up to that basketball. It's a turnover. It will be on Brusino's stat sheet, but Anderson probably could have done a better job of tracking that ball down. Jorginho. Diaz says, hey, you've been hot. Take the ball back and go to work. So he does. Layup attempt not there. Ramirez pulls it down.
Keemsa's got numbers. They hurry.
Robinson steps into a three and drills it. Back to a 5-point game.
Robinson now with 12. Joins Brusino in double figures, who has 10 for Keemsa.
It's Jackson on the float. Can't get it to go. Rebound inside. Ricochet and ends up in the hands of Ramirez. And he says, let's go. Let's run. Sanchez to the basket. Gets fouled. He'll go to the line for two. And Mariano upset. Thought he went straight up.
I don't know what he's upset about. That was a great take. He went right after the big man.
Two quick fouls just like that on Lucas Mariano after staying off the fouls in that first half. Great job of using the angles there by Sanchez to pick up that foul.
So Mariano now with 3 fouls. Lucas Diaz with 3 fouls.
Crowd reacts to the missed free throw from Sanchez.
Well, they can react to the missed free throw, but that doesn't remove the foul from Mariano's stat sheet.
Now, if you're Kimsa, you got to be relaying that message. Hey, the two bigs here have 3 fouls. Let's attack, and let's not be afraid when we see them in front of us. See if we can get them out of the game and on the bench. 1 for 2 from the line for Sanchez.
I'm going to want to run some offensive sets where you force them to switch.
Boy.
And get the bigs in a position they don't want to be in.
Mariano.
And they're letting him play here. I thought they could have gotten Mariano for his 4th foul just a moment ago, and then he gets drilled and no call.
Orsino's 3 off the mark. But yeah, you're right, Craig. I thought a couple of times the whistle could have blown either way. It would have been a huge call.
Yep.
But the officials, to your point, keeping the whistle silent. You see the turnovers there on both sides, 13-8. I'd like to see that number down for both teams. Still a 4-point game. Feels like we're waiting for something to happen dramatically to shift the entire outcome of this game. Mariano will sit. Maybe this is it.
Kind of felt that way in the first semifinal, too. Flamengo and Minas, both teams, took the lead, but nobody really took charge until Flamengo did with maybe about 3 minutes remaining in the game. They were finally able to just salt it away.
Flamengo waiting for the winner of this game in the finals tomorrow, and Eric Anderson, who is having a tough night.
And
I think
Kimsa was looking for the shot clock violation. I don't know that he... Ooh, man, we couldn't really see the shot clock from that angle. They got the foul on Anderson. So that nullifies whether that would have been the shot clock violation on the shot getting blocked. But I'm not sure he even got it off after that spin move.
I think that's what Coach Romea and his bench were arguing about as Santos knocks down the first free throw to push the lead back to 5.
Seems like the crowd is waiting for something as well.
You can feel some nervousness in this arena, can't you? It's jam-packed.
That's a good way to put it.
It's almost some anxiety here, knowing that the game is still within reach for the visitors. Here's Robinson crossing over. Now darts in. The foul's on the floor before the shot.
That's going to be on Dos Santos, and that's going to be his third.
Robinson trying to argue that he's at the line. In fact, standing at the line with confidence as if he can will his way to the line, or the officials to call it. So it depends on who they called it on, because Diaz did swipe in there in a shooting motion.
I think that had to be on the...
I thought it was on Jonathan Dos Santos myself.
Yeah. So it was on Dos Santos, and he sits down. Michael Smith back on the floor.
Robinson is at the line, and he'll knock down the first. 13 points and counting for Brandon Robinson. An efficient night shooting from the field, 4 of 6. Back to a 4-point game. Jorginho. Smith. Working on a defensive Robinson. Did a good job of staying in front of him. The first move. Second move, he had everything but the finish. This is Barale. Right to the rim! And it's a 2-point game.
And a great take by Barale. Franca did not want to commit another foul right there.
That's Anderson picking up another foul on the perimeter. It's the 4th team foul for Kimsa. And Anderson will sit.
A more veteran player to have made that take by Barale. He's only 23 years old, though. He was aware of the situation, aware of Franco's foul situation, and he was aggressive.
Bad foul there that will send Lucas Diaz to the line, who he's been quiet here in this third after starting the game on fire. See if these free throws could get him going here in the second half. Soft touch rattles it in on the first attempt. The foul was way off the basket. Just held Diaz as he was trying to make his cut on the inbound. Because they're in the penalty, we now have Diaz at the line.
An interesting decision by Rubens to keep Diaz in the game with those 3 fouls.
Yeah, he had the first 6 points of the game for Franca. And finally now adds that total with 2 free throws. Robinson!
Oh my!
Cash money from deep. 1-point game. Brandon Robinson talking on his way back down the court. This is Diaz. Scala for 3. Responds.
Wow. Every time Kimsa seems like they're going to get over the hump, Franca has an answer.
Look for Robinson on the curl. The foul's away from the basketball. And that's going to send Brandon Robinson to the line. And he's talking to fans, anyone that can listen. That puts him at the free throw line to add to his point total. He's locked in. He's engaged.
Huge 3-pointer by Santiago Scala.
Really was, because it felt like after that Robinson three that Kimsa might be riding the momentum wave here to close this period. Minute 28 to go in the third. Clock stopped, and Brandon Robinson has an opportunity to cut this lead in half. Robinson now with 20, and the meter is still running.
See why he's the second leading scorer in BCLA play. He's at his average.
Diaz. Smith. Attacked and got fouled. Could not complete the three-point play opportunity, but he'll try to earn two the old-fashioned way at the line.
Curious to watch this replay sequence. Diaz with a nice wraparound pass underneath. And I don't know if Acevedo got the block in addition to the foul, or if Smith just lost it on the way up, but they called a foul on they called it on Sanchez.
Thought it was Acevedo as well, as he hit him with the body after the ball was released. Smith at the line nonetheless, knocks down the first free throw.
Smith knew that free throw was off as soon as he shot it.
It was a good hustle there by Santos to try and keep possession. Scalo stepped out of bounds, and look at the crowd now getting into it. Listen to this place. They thought there should have been a foul called, but you decide on the replay.
I don't know. I mean, guys are going at it. I think that's a good no call there, and I think that's the correct call because the Franca player, I didn't see who that was, had his right foot on the sideline.
Another minute to play here in this third quarter. Barale feels like he has a mismatch. He'll tee up a deep three. Can't get it to go, and Hernandez is going to get called for the offensive foul. Just shoving Santos in the back. Marcio Santos wiping the sweat off of his brow there. He'll head to the line for free throws as both teams are in the penalty. Kevin Fernandez.
Number 2 for Hernandez.
Yeah, he had a great first half. 8 points, 4 boards, but that is foul number 2. That's the difference between folks that are depended on to kind of be your everyday go-to player and guys that come off the bench and play spot minutes. Hernandez falls in the ladder. Great moments in that first half. He's been quiet so far here in the second. It's hard to keep up that consistency at that level. That's why the superstars get paid the big bucks. Santos knocks down the first one.
Saw Lucas Diaz just a moment ago.
He's having a tough night.
Leaned over the display boards in front of the Franca bench. Not sure if he's exhausted or if he's a little dinged up or what, but now he's finally sat down.
Sat right next to his head coach. As Robinson feeds Hernandez. Oh, what a block by Santos!
My goodness.
The push the other way. Smith. 3 on the way. Scala in and out.
Oh, this place would have erupted. That's another one of those opportunities.
Shot clock turned off. Kimsa realizing it, recognizing it. They'll look to take the last shot of their third quarter. Robinson wants it. Scala on him. Side of the court clear for him. Step back 3 on the way. Can't get it to go. Jackson vacuums it in. Scala has a chance to put it up. Not in time. And that's how we'll end the third. 10 more minutes. And we decide who will head to the finals here at the Basketball Champions League of Americas to take on Flamengo. Franca leads 62-57 over Kimsa. Don't go anywhere. Stats for both teams. Shooting percentages looking a lot better than they did at half. And both teams starting to find a rhythm in that third period. It finally felt, Craig, like we had some sort of flow to this basketball game as Mariano and Robinson lead the way, 17 points and 19 apiece.
Yeah, that third quarter was, I think, a lot more what we expected out of this game. Franca in the first two quarters, 20 points and 17 points. Kimsa, 20 points and 10 points. In that third quarter, Franca scored 25. Kimsa scored 27. So that's the kind of offensive output these teams are accustomed to. And we'll see if they can keep it up in the fourth quarter. We've got some guys in some foul trouble. Got some guys starting to get gassed. Got some guys starting to heat up as well, including that man right there. Brandon Robinson, 19 points on 5 of 8 shooting. He's 3 of 5 from beyond the arc. 4 rebounds and 2 assists as well.
Game's been physical, as the pictures will show you. Both teams, win or lose, will definitely head to the ice bath after this one. Waiting for them at the other end. Winners of this game will play Flamengo in the finals. Losers will meet Minas in the final in the third place game. Both of them happening tomorrow in this very gym.
Boy, and that last block by Edu Elevi, he was fired up, and you can't defend any better than that. He went straight up, blocked the shot, and then came down.
The fourth quarter starts with a Brandon Robinson floater to reduce the lead to 3. Less than 10 minutes now stands between one of these two teams and the finals. Jackson is open for 3. Indeed.
My goodness. Every time Kimsa gets within sniffing distance, Franca answers with a 3. That time it's the veteran, David Jackson.
Early foul here in the quarter. That's going to be something to keep an eye on as we progress here in this fourth. Both teams were in a penalty in the third. Who can get there first might determine who walks out of here with the victory, especially with the foul trouble on both sides. We know that Diaz right now sitting on the bench for foul trouble, but Ale for 3, can't get it to go. Ball vacuumed in there by Scala. Scala bounce pass inside. This is great ball movement by Kimsa. Mariano for 3. Indeed!
Oh, wow.
Quick timeout here for Kimsa, as Mariano now ticks over 20 points in the game. And that is the largest lead of the game now for Franca.
Back-to-back three-pointers by Jackson, and now the big man, Lucas Mariano, came into this game shooting 26% from beyond the arc. And in this game, 3 of 7 for 43%. As you said, Leandro Ramea wanting timeout before this gets too far out of hand. 68-59, 9 points. Biggest lead of the game. Those 2 3-pointers came just after Robinson at the start of the fourth quarter got it down to 3 points.
Robinson's done his part so far tonight. The leading scorer for Kimsa with 21 points. He's going to need some help here as Franca is starting to turn it up here in this second half. 13 points for Jackson. Mariano now with 20. Just came off back-to-back three-pointers. Let's see how Kimsa responds out of the timeout.
We had used the analogy of heavyweight fighters early on in this one, and for every punch Kimsa has thrown, especially in this second half, Franca has counterpunched.
Foul there on the perimeter. Santos banging Robinson to the deck. Both of those guys talking, going back and forth now as we head to the replay. They're doing some jawing. Second team foul for Franca.
I think that's the third foul on Santos.
Morale in the paint. Falling away, can't get it to go. Anderson with the rebound. Fresh 14 for Kimsa. Shot blocked there by Santos. Ball last touched by Franca, so we'll stay here. 8 ticks on the shot clock.
Boy, and I thought Barale should have taken that all the way because he had the big man on skates in the air and could really have drawn that fourth foul had he taken it all the way aggressively. Instead, he chose to put the brakes on and try to shoot a fall away over Mariano.
Scala picks up another foul there. This time the ball wasn't even in play. That's the third team foul here with plenty of time left in this fourth period. Franca going to have to be very careful the rest of the way. They don't want to get into an early penalty situation, have the clock stopped, and allow Kimsa to try and chip away at this lead. Robinson lost control of it. He'll take the three as the shot clock expires. Can't get it to go, and Santos vacuums it in. Scala crossing the timeline. Officials blowing the whistle as the shot clock didn't start on time. So they're going to adjust that. It's going to be a side out here for Franca. Let's take a look at Brandon Robinson. Does he have enough left in the tank to carry this team back to the BCLA finals?
Great defense there by Acevedo to read that pass, forcing the turnover.
It's a terrible pass by Scala, throwing it into traffic. As you said, Acevedo paying attention, wasn't even guarding that man. He came over and caused a turnover. There he is now on the rock. Acevedo driving inside, feeds inside to Anderson, who's hammered. That's the fourth team foul. It was in the act of shooting, so Anderson will toe the line, but more importantly, the next foul will put them in the bonus.
So Dos Santos comes back on with the 3 fouls, as that foul was against Marcio Santos.
Anderson, who has had a quiet night, drills the first free throw. And after that free throw, give him 8 and counting. Lead is 7.
So if we're talking about foul trouble, Franca as a team, 14 fouls. But you have Dos Santos with 3, Santos 3, Scala 3, Lucas Diaz with 3.
And Diaz, earlier, or rather Santos picked up another one.
Lucas Mariano only has 2.
Santos picking up that offensive foul. And that is the 15th foul. And Kimsa now in the penalty, or rather in the bonus, the rest of this game, with plenty of time to play in the fourth. And on the other end, they have not picked up a foul at all. Barale attacking, gave it away.
Oh, big steal by Diaz.
Diaz checked back into the game. Barale picking up the foul there. And the crowd wanting another unsportsmanlike on Barale. Not sure why Bradley fouled in that situation. There wasn't much of any danger. He picks up the foul anyway, and it'll be a side out. First team foul here in the fourth. Mariano, quick trigger, can't get it to go. And Jonathan Dos Santos on the offensive rebound, and just like that now, 2 team fouls for Kimsa.
2 quick team fouls. Both of them against Morale, I believe.
See if Diaz can get going. You saw him bent over on his bench. Obviously frustrated with the night he's having. Diaz on the offensive glass. Can't tap it in.
Oh!
Good hustle there by
Had a
Smith.
chance.
It's Diaz for 3. Bang!
Wow, that is a huge swing right there. Kimsa had a chance at a 3-on-1 or 4-on-1 or 4-on-2 or whatever it was. Pass intercepted, and it resulted in a 3-pointer back the other way, and now a 10-point spread.
Diaz with the poke away. It's Diaz for 3 again! Indeed! Lucas Diaz just blew the roof off this place! From a quiet night to an eruption. And a leading scorer for Franca just gave his team the biggest lead of the game. Timeout on the floor.
And the fans really showing it now. There was a little bit of extracurricular activities following that last basket, and now the fans really getting on Kimsa. Got those thunder sticks. They're finally able to sing with a 10-point lead here in the fourth quarter. 13-point lead with 6:16 to play. Still plenty of time for Kimsa, no doubt, but they need to turn things around right now.
Is this the knockout blow? As Diaz with back-to-back triples. And you see the emotion as he starts to erupt. He and Mariano, the twin towers, the two-headed monster here for Franca, trying to lead their team at home to their first ever appearance in the Basketball Champions League of America's finals. Still work to do. Just over 6 minutes to play. Robinson's not going down without a fight. Drills the 3. Back to a 10-point lead. And then Robinson now with 24 and counting. Jorginho, crafty.
That is an apt description of that shot. Very crafty. A little left-hand scoop off the glass.
Shot there, no good, and Jorginho now slowing things down.
Yeah, Fabian Ramirez, I don't know if he wanted a foul call there or what, but...
Uh-oh. This place would have lost it if Diaz had that splash home. And Jonathan Dos Santos on the offensive glass, working and finding himself at the line for 2 free throws.
And you get the feeling now, even though Robinson hit that 3-pointer a moment ago, that Franca is asserting itself and taking control of this game.
First point of the night for Jonathan Dos Santos. Extends the lead back to 14. Brandon Robinson. The double comes. Dos Santos watching Robinson. Robinson knifing his way in. Floater not there. And the big right-hand paw of Mariano snatched it out the sky, and somehow he kept possession.
Franca now 11 of 32 from beyond the arc for 34.4%. So that three-point shooting percentage has been steadily creeping up, and there's a two-pointer that was pretty easy.
Diaz finding Smith on the cut. Gives Smith 8 points and counting. Important possession now for Kimsa. Feels like the game might be slipping out of their hands. Brandon Robinson wants it. Racino. Ramirez. Racino open for three. Too strong, and Mariano with another board.
8th rebound for Lucas Mariano. Lucas Diaz has 10.
That's going to be a foul. Easy whistle there. And Cosalito showing his frustrations. The two captains there doing some battle on the perimeter.
Franca out rebounding Kimsa 44-29 to this point. And if you can get a double-double out of your two-headed monster, Diaz and Mariano, you got to be pretty happy.
Diaz
14 points, 10 rebounds. Mariano 20 points and just a couple of boards shy of his own double-double.
Diaz thought he was going to go to the line here, but one more foul will then put Kimsa in the penalty, and there it is. Jorginho picks it up. He'll go to the line for two. Sanchez can't believe it. When they needed some baskets, it was this man right here, middle of the third, to knock down a couple triples. And it seemed to open the game up. You see why Franca, the leading scorer in this competition, when you have guys like Jorginho de Paula, Lucas Diaz, Lucas Mariano, and then I say three names before I even get to David Jackson. There's a ton of scoring between those four. You just don't know on any given night who might show up and give you 20. And unfortunately for a lot of teams, Kimsa's finding out it's tough to keep them off the board for far too long. So listen into their huddle.
After Brandon Robinson hit that three-pointer to make it 62-59 at the start of the fourth quarter, to get it down to three, Jackson hit that three to make it six, then Lucas Mariano hit a three. They exchanged baskets, and then Diaz hit back-to-back threes. But it was that David Jackson three-pointer to answer Robinson at the start of the fourth to get it back to six. That was, I think, the turning point in the game, because at that point, Kimsa got it down to three. Franca was starting to get in foul trouble as a team, and you started to think, boy, if Kimsa can get to the line, they have no team fouls. Franca at that point had 3 or 4. You had to be pretty optimistic for Kimsa. But then all of a sudden, the outside shots started falling for Franca, and it seems like they have not stopped.
Foul drawn there by Jonathan Dos Santos as Ramirez was called for the moving screen. Mariano thought about it a bunch of times. Gets it back for the hammer.
That puts the lead at 20 inside 3.5 minutes. And if there was a punctuation mark to Kimsa's night, I think that might be it.
Offense completely stagnant now for Kimsa. Ramirez, jab step, goes. Needed more of that tonight. It's a pretty move. Under 3 to play here in the fourth.
Kimsa, I think, was shell-shocked by those back-to-back three-pointers by Diaz that made the lead go from 7 to 13. They have not been anywhere near themselves since then.
Diaz for 3. In and out. Dos Santos inside with the rebound. Blocked there by Anderson on the second attempt. Sanchez, patient for 2.
Kimsa had to be thinking, my goodness, we've done so well to bottle up Diaz to this point. Hasn't really done much damage since the first half, and then all of a sudden he explodes for back-to-back threes, putting us at a 13-point deficit. Well, what do we do now? Diaz is hitting threes, and it seems like they haven't been able to recover. Wow!
Diaz hitting threes and finishing tip slams. Off the Jorginho miss. Diaz pounds it home and pounds his chest. 16 and counting for him. Sanchez trying to carve out some space, and he does. Good finish inside. We'll have a quick substitution here on both sides. Wholesale changes, and the white flag might be out for Kimsa. As we take a look at that Diaz flush high above the rim.
He got up there for that one and flushed it home, as Marv Albert would say, with authority.
Lead is 16. Minute 40. We'll have an all-Brazil final as Flamengo will take on Franca, the host nation, and Smith for 3, pouring it on now. Looked like Franco was in danger of missing their competition average. They might get there comfortably. Rosino for 3. He drills it. And the crowd now starting to let you know what they're coming for. The first time ever Franco will play in the finals here at the BCLA. And it will be the 3rd straight year a team from Brazil has hoisted this trophy and represented the Americas at the Intercontinental Cup. That will come in September of this year. The only thing left to decide is whether it's Franca or Flamengo. Diaz wants a review. Even though his team's up big and it's under a minute to play, he wants every possession. And feels like we might get the review. Talk about a competitor. Team up big. And I think Brasino is just realizing, hey, what's happening here? Why are we getting a review of this in this type of game?
Well, that's what's so great about international competitions is it doesn't matter the score. They are going to play hard to the very last whistle and not concede anything.
So the officials head to the monitor. It gives us a couple minutes here to talk about our potential finals matchup tomorrow night here in Franca. It will be the host nation taking, or host team rather, taking on Flamengo. An all Brazilian matchup. And we saw Flamengo in our first game, Craig, really kind of grind out a win. They're going to have to play a different type of basketball to keep up with the explosive Franca.
Yeah, we saw Flamengo in that game really struggle at times, and then they had some free-flowing offense at other times. But they're going to have to play the kind of defense that Kімsa played through 3/4 of this game. Well, at least through half of this game, because Franca scored 25 points in that third quarter, but they're going to have a difficult time dealing with Franca and Lucas Diaz and Lucas Mariano. I mean, if those guys are hitting outside shots, I mean, forget about it. You can't guard them both inside and outside. It's the old cliche, you can't stop them, you can only hope to contain them. And Kімsa was able to contain Diaz and Mariano, although Mariano had a decent amount of points. He wasn't shooting great. And then all of a sudden, both of these guys just erupted.
So after the challenge, the ball will stay in the possession of Kімsa. Saw Jorginho there quickly at the top of your screen, getting some head taps as he heads to the bench. His night is done. Under 40 to play here in the game. Kімsa, even though they lose here, still have an opportunity to walk away with third place in our third place game. Tomorrow we'll see Minas and Kімsa. That should be a good game.
Yeah, I think those will be two very evenly matched teams.
Santos with the exclamation point there on the hammer. Only scored 4 points, but did as good a job as you could on Brandon Robinson. And Franca will dribble out the clock here at home and move on to the finals for the first time here at the Basketball Champions League of Americas. An all-Brazilian matchup on the way. Flamengo will take on Franca for supremacy in the Americas. 91-73 your final score. Franca moving on to the finals.
Franca outscoring Kімsa in that fourth quarter 29-16. When you think about the fact that Franca only scored 37 points in that first half, just a remarkable second half. Franca ended up still not shooting the ball tremendously, only finishing around just over 40%. But they put up a volume of shots in a manner they didn't in that first half. So while they didn't shoot the ball completely lights out in that second half, they shot it well enough to get their percentage up high enough, and they did it at such a high volume that they just blew Kімsa out of the building in that fourth quarter. Just an impressive display by Franca. It's like you felt them kind of bubbling the whole game. You felt them bubbling like a pot on a stove. They're bubbling, and occasionally you'd see some eruptions, and then all of a sudden fourth quarter started and woof, it boiled over, and Kімsa could not put a lid on it.
We can talk about their offense all evening long, and I'm sure we're going to do that tomorrow in the championship game, but their defense also deserves some credit. First time here in the competition, Kімsa's held under 80 points. So Franca doing it on both ends.
Yeah, with the exception of that third quarter, Carlin, when Kімsa scored 27 points and outscored Franca 27-25, Kімsa's quarterly totals were 20, 10, and 16. That's impressive on a team that averages 90 points per game.
No doubt about it. So we have a tasty matchup in the finals. That man led the way. We'll listen in to his quick interview as Lucas Mariano was terrific.
Parabéns pela classificação do SESI Franca para a decisão da BCLA Américas 2023. Franca chega à final depois de quarto período muito forte, onde vocês conseguiram abrir e definir o jogo. Qual foi a chave para a vitória?
Cara, primeiro, boa noite. Eu só queria primeiramente agradecer a Deus por estar aqui, por estar mais uma final. Acho que se não fosse ele, eu não estaria aqui. Então, toda honra e glória a Deus. E, cara, acho que foi um jogo bem difícil no começo. Acho que por ser em casa, por ser... A gente tá jogando em casa, a gente acho que bate um pouco de ansiedade. Às vezes até o nosso chute estava diferente, nossa confiança também um pouco, sei lá, ansioso, sabe? Mas acho que no segundo tempo a gente conseguiu soltar mais. Fizemos aquilo que a gente sempre faz nos jogos, que é energia na defesa, contra-ataque, é a nossa marca registrada. E é isso. Graças a Deus mais uma final. Amanhã é mais um dia de guerra. E a gente vai estar mais preparado do que hoje para a gente poder conquistar, se Deus quiser, esse título.
E eu te perguntar exatamente isso, como é que você projeta a final contra o Flamengo?
Cara, eu projeto um jogo bem duro. A gente sabe que é um time que sempre bate de frente com a gente. Não tão feliz assim de ter perdido muitos jogos contra a gente. Então eu sei que eles vão vir aqui amanhã, vai ser uma guerra. A gente sabe que final é outro jogo, é outro basquete. Então a gente vai ter que dar um pouco a mais aí, mais que a gente deu hoje, para a gente quiser conseguir esse título inédito.
Obrigado, Lucas Mariano, parabéns.
Lucas Mariano walks off with 22 points, 8 boards to lead Franca to the finals of the Basketball Champions League of Americas for the first time ever. And they'll meet a familiar foe in Flamengo, a team that has dominated the pro ranks in Brazil. 7 all-time titles for Flamengo, but Franca, the current champions, winning last season, are going to try to continue those winning ways, see if they can get past Flamengo and move on to represent the Americas at the Intercontinental Cup and become world champions. But what an incredible performance from Franca. It's almost like they flipped the switch, Craig, and decided they weren't going to let this game get away from them at home, no matter what Brandon Robinson and Kimsa could do.
Yeah, and Brandon Robinson did absolutely everything he could possibly do, but it just wasn't enough, as Robinson finished with 24 points, 4 of 7 from beyond the arc. Ursino had 13. The only players in double figures for Kimsa. For Franca, meanwhile, Lucas Diaz, 16 points, 11 boards. Jorginho de Paula, 14 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds. David Jackson, 13 points. And Lucas Mariano, 22 points, 8 rebounds. We'll have both of these games for you tomorrow. The third place game between Minas and Kimsa. 5 o'clock local time in Franca. It'll be 3 o'clock Eastern time in the U.S. And then the final, 8:30 local time between Franca and Flamengo, 6:30 Eastern time in the U.S.
Can't wait for that. I'll be alongside with you for the call of that game. Kimsa looking to at least finish with third spot after failing to do so last year. They finished 4th in that placement game. Minas looking to walk away with their head held high after finishing 3rd in the last 2 competitions here at the BCLA Final Four. We'll say so long this evening, and congratulations to Franca as they move on to the finals for the first time. They'll host Flamengo tomorrow night. Enjoy the rest of your night. For Craig Fada, I'm Carlin Gay. We'll see you tomorrow for the 3rd place and the championship game right here at the BCLA 2023.